All right, mic check, mic check. Let me check the audio. This is Fink's Art of Boxing. We'll get into this boxing news.
All right, mic check.
All right, sounds good. Again, recording from a different location, so apologies for any background audio. You guys see the title. Thank you guys for joining. I missed the fights, plus weight loss in boxing. Little diverse subject, but I'm going to try to get into it for the next 5 minutes. This man's got to go to work. Shout outs to everyone working on a Sunday and for everyone with the day off. Thanks for tuning in. I ask you to hit the thumbs up like you'll hear me do now. Make sure to support yourself on this fine day and every day. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications for the next time we go live. And really, I'm just going to be reading off my Twitter here. My boxing Twitter is at ArtFinks, ARTFINKS. Yes, sir. This week was mostly dominated by Samson Boxing, the promoter, the man who's got just a great list of fighters under his name. I'm happy to even just you get like acquainted with this guy's information, his background, his resume. Samson, one of the dark horse promoters doing it out there. He's got David Benavidez currently, a very big 168 pounder. I went back, me personally, I was looking back at the John Ryder fight versus Callum Smith. 168 to me is wide open. So, of course, Samson Boxing, Javier Fortuna, the lightweight, and winning the purse bid against Josh Taylor with his own super welter or junior welterweight, Apinun Kongsong, the man out of Thailand. But yeah, I have to dedicate this one to Samson Boxing. Got me thinking about the lower weights, and then 168 pounds. I was looking at some footage of David Benavidez. That's a scary matchup for anybody, man, to take that big man down. Then got me saying Benavidez versus Canelo. Out of all the tournaments that could be made, if they could do a 168-pound tournament and somehow convince Canelo to get in there so he could become undisputed, that would be nasty. If it was a 6-man tournament, even I was thinking Canelo would maybe have like a bye week or whatever, by month, some time off, and Benavidez would have to work his way up there because I think I was thinking of giving buys to like Canelo and Callum Smith, and then having the PBC side figure it out, and then whatever BJS, Billy Joe Saunders versus maybe a Eubank. I don't know. Or you could mix and match, hopefully yeah. But anyways, I was just looking at highlights of Benavidez, and that man can throw down. He's long, he's big, probably bigger than what Kovalev weighs in there, and he's young and healthy, so that's just weight that he wants to be putting on, that he could be using in a fight. So Benavidez versus Canelo would be sick. I like Caleb Plant myself at 168, but Benavidez, man, I'm kind of digging the whole Samson vibe right now, and him versus Canelo, Mexican American warfare. That'd be great. I think it'd do really well in the States. Nevertheless, the rumors going around is Canelo versus Murata in Japan. So I made probably an ill-timed quote saying Canelo with all the keys at 160 to 168 decides to make a fight, or thinks about making the fight with Murata. Well, obviously, my man Nauta Boxing got in there real quick and I didn't finish the tweet actually, but the fight to make is Murata. Geez, I continue. How do you say ignoramus in Japanese? I was referring to Kovalev, who made a statement out there after the 175-pound. Kovalev losing the belt at 175 pounds against Canelo, and how after that he called everyone who bet on him an ignoramus. So Murata, maybe he'll get caught up in this whole hype train. They'll build him up to something he's not quite yet. Man's got a couple losses. People have to, do their research and look into those losses and still decide for themselves if Murata's the actual goods. But sometimes the media works against some of these guys and they build them up. So then you have someone named Canelo, like Kovalev, calling everyone ignoramus, and let's put it on the record. Sergey Kovalev is a sore loser, but still, he pretty much talked about the financial incentive for him. He said he wasn't quite right. He couldn't get the weight down properly. He had a tough fight with Anthony Yard, and I'm saying those things separately, but I think the sum of its parts is much greater than the parts themselves. Anyways, so my man Nauta, of course, he got in there and said it's too much money and too big a growth opportunity. I replied, just completely, I agree with Nauta. I think sometimes it's too a little tough to be sarcastic on the Twitter, and he thought I was calling Canelo an ignoramus. And then we got talking about the media, and we both agree that there's a lot of how do you say, fanboys, I guess, in the media. So they're gonna big up Canelo, and like I said, though, they might sweep in his opponent, of course, to build the narrative and make it a legacy fight, which me and Nauta agree. We both agree that it's not about legacy, it's about the money. He's about risk reward, said Nauta. Big up to that man. Go check out his channel, Nauta, Naota. But then we finished it, and I said, hey, I was just laughing, LOL, and just said that the ignoramus was directed to the D riders in the media. But to me, Canelo's guilty by association. If ever I'm asked about how I rank these fighters and why I don't rank Canelo like that in a pound for pound discussion, he supersedes pound for pound. And the people rating him pound for pound are getting carried away with the whole circus and narrative behind him. I think Canelo is a fine boxer, but until I see him against a Benavidez, if he signed up for a tournament, would he still be able to use his A side, or would he drop out of a tournament? He's still a pretty big A side and probably get most of the stipulations his way for a tournament, but that's a little more of a, ask the WBSS, how tough is it to set up one of those tournaments? So could Canelo fix a tournament, for lack of a better word? I'm not sure. I still would want to see the Benavidez, and I think it'd be tough to put weight stipulations on Benavidez because he's still so young. And I'd just be interested to see that. I'm going to try to keep things quick and positive. Let me just check out the chat. Thank you guys for listening. I might be getting carried away with something else, but you see the title. I missed the fights last night, so I can't really talk about those. So I'm just going to catch up with this week and this coming up week. I'm basically saying, Canelo, decide where you want to be. Ryota Murata, I think he's at 160. So maybe 168 isn't necessarily the conversation we should be having. All that to say, David Benavidez is a Samson fighter. So I'm going to keep going up. We got some Adrian Broner. We got Sergey's Kovalev, where he talks about, where he quotes, given the conditions, it was impossible to win. You are all ignoramuses since you thought I could win. I climbed into this weight with torment and sleepless nights because it was financially interesting offer, end quote. So we continue to this weekend, Stephen Fulton versus Arnold Kegai. I said was a must watch tonight on Showtime last night. And then I went out to dinner with the lady, and I came back home and laid down for 2 seconds. And then it was 2 hours later. I had missed that fight. So I tweeted, post-dinner nap, missed the fights, but 3 decisions in non-title fights, I'd be a little salty. The fans love a knockout. So with 3 decisions and pretty much a mismatch, I have to do my homework and check out how Danny performed. Jared Hurd, I kept hearing he was trying out the jab. Someone mentioned too that he became unified without it. So, hey, whatever works. These guys are students of the sport, so they're learning. Fell asleep. Did I miss anything on the Showtime card? I think like I was correct. The last out of the 3 matches, Fulton, Jared Hurd's match, and Danny Garcia, Stephen Fulton, I think performed the best and made me think of the man Chris Colbert in his match against my man, what's his face, Colbert versus Jezreel Corrales. My man Nauta Box also, he came up with a a good little review that you guys should check out on his YouTube channel. Again, shout out to Nauta. Yeah, Stephen Fulton versus a Chris Colbert. Which win is bigger, the undefeated Arnold Kegai or Jezreel Corrales, who was, he was the man at lightweight at a time, maybe before Lomachenko got up there. But let's not digress too much. You guys could look up some review, Nauta's review on that. Chris Colbert versus Jezreel Corrales. But we're talking about Stephen Fulton versus Arnold Kegai. So an undefeated fighter versus someone of Corrales' level. Both guys went the decision. And it appears that Stephen Fulton had a pretty good match. Maybe overcame some an unorthodox style in Kegai. Nevertheless, Fulton got through it, beat an undefeated fighter. And that's always, headline news. That's always exciting. So we continue into this week. It's Miami, and it's Thursday night before the Super Bowl, mind you. So this DAZN card is actually looking not bad. I mean, Andrade not into his fight versus Keeler. Let's see what happens. My man Farmer, Tevin Farmer versus Jojo Diaz. That's a top 10 fight. Then you have Roman versus Akhmadaliev. The man goes by MJ or Kaka on Twitter. And he's going to be a live dog in there. Roman coming off the injury. That's the upset alert of the night. That's the match I'm going to try to get into. I missed this weekend. So that is also a top 10 fight, man. I think I'm going to do a little more research and maybe do a live stream about that. It's getting a little too late for me, and I'm not sure if my internet's cut on and off. Let me just check the chat, but I really appreciate you guys listening. And then I wanted to comment real quick about weight loss in boxing. Now, everyone does it, but when you're starting to do the 25 pounds, I think Errol Spence complained about a 25-pound, if not more, but a 25-pound weight cut. Terrence Crawford, he ballooned up to 177 before the Jeff Horn fight. I think it was the first fight in welterweight right after the Ndongo fight, and that he went right into the Jeff Horn, which is a subject for another day if you want to talk about that. But he was at 177 on Instagram, training up to that fight or before training started or whatever you will. That's also a 20-pound something weight cut. Danny Garcia makes news talking about it last night. And I quote Danny saying, "I didn't feel my best, lost 25 pounds in 8 weeks," which is probably the amount of time his training camp was. But that's like, so I'm not sure. I don't remember if Crawford was before the training camp, like the day before, or if it was even further before the camp really started. But we knew he would be pursuing Jeff Horn nevertheless. So just going up that much weight, these guys have, gyms and everything to work it off. But I'm over here trying to lose 2 or 3 pounds, and it's like I'm in shape and still trying to run it off. But I think it's a little concerning, especially, let's just go with Danny's quote on this. "I didn't feel my best, lost 25 pounds in 8 weeks. 25 pounds, 20 pounds, that's not making you not feel your best. Like, it shouldn't be a weight loss camp. And even in the off season, I would expect these guys to, I would think that if they're like as fighters, but who knows, man, the money, I've never been a fighter with $1 million either. What am I fighting for at that point? So to me, just on a health level, losing that much weight, especially just during the training camp. Let's stick with Danny. But other fighters like Spence and Hurd, and I commented on Crawford, but Spence and Hurd have actually talked about the weight loss instead of other fighters. Other fighters don't really even get into it. We just know that they're drying themselves out. But Spence and Hurd and now Danny have all commented on it openly. So kudos to them. Spence complaining about not having a trainer, and Jared Hurd, he was in the middle of 2 trainers. So losing that much weight, I think, is playing with fire with your health. And if you're not feeling healthy on fight night, that's concerning to me. So hopefully these guys figure it out and don't play with too much fire. I don't throw the terms around weight bully or anything, but some people do. I'm more just concerned about the health of the fighters in there, whether they're cheating other opponents using PEDs or cheating themselves by losing that much weight. So big no-no to that. Kudos to the guys who talk about it, but maybe we should talk back and say, hey man, like, appreciate it, but don't be doing that. That's not how careers end well. You got to spend your money healthy. So stay in shape so you don't have to get in shape. I think Mayweather said that, so big up to that legend of boxing. But yo, this is Fink's Art of Boxing. You guys can hit the thumbs up before you go if you like the contents of this video, missed the fights. We got Danny Garcia winning, Stephen Fulton winning by UD, Jared Hurd winning by decision. So not the most exciting, but I might actually come back later, cover the MJ versus Daniel Roman, a unified super featherweight. And what else, man? That's pretty much super feather, super bantam. You guys could check it out, but those are the names. MJ, just search MJ and Daniel Roman. Gotta run, unfortunately. But 3 people watching, really appreciate you. Hit the thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, replay this video when it ends. You guys could get my quick thoughts and comments on the sport on the week ahead. Make sure you follow me on Twitter @ArtThinks. And yo, bless up.